What's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of SDGC Live. It is Thursday, July 15th. I hope everybody's having a fantastic week, except assholes. If you're an asshole, I hope you're not having a fantastic week at all. I hope your week sucks ass if you're a horrible shithead. But anyway, as you can see, I'm joined by two very special and good-looking individuals tonight. We're waiting on Brittany. I don't know where Brittany's at. She's supposed to be here. She's running a little late. But I want to. So Jeff, first up.
Again, I have to call her out. She's liking Pillknock selfies on Twitter. Like
She's
5
liking
minutes
Pillknock
ago.
selfies on Twitter right now.
She's not in the call.
Like literally right now. Oh my, Brittany.
It was like 10 minutes ago or something. It's like I know she's around.
Brittany, come on, Brittany, get in the call. Somebody, Jeff, you should tweet at her or comment on a Pillknock selfie.
It's more fun this way.
Oh my God, Britt. And we also have our very good friend Grant, the newly not just Grant Stoner. This is verified Grant Stoner.
It is.
Ooh.
Hi. Thank you for having me.
Like
the presence of royalty.
Like yeah, like it's so I want to. This is a big moment, right? Because like before now, I would have been like, is this really Grant Stoner? Do we truly do we know who Grant Stoner is? Like, how can I be sure this is not some kind of like a changeling or a replicant or an android of some kind? But now that you are verified on Twitter, I know it's you.
You can trust me. It's officially me.
Absolutely. Grant, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
Of course. Well, if we're going to talk about accessibility, I want you on because you're a trusted voice in that regard. Got a lot of respect for you. And for anybody in chat who is not familiar with who you are or what you do, why did you get verified? That's the best way to put it. Like why? Who is Grant Stoner?
I am a accessibility and disability gaming journalist with bylines in Washington Post, IGN, Fanbytes, Kotaku, GameDaily.biz, and Wired. I'm also the former mobility editor of Can I Play That, the largest disability publication in the industry.
Why don't you just like throw it in my face, man? Why don't you just like brag about
quite a resume?
Brag about your resume. Brag about all the things you've done and said. Come on, man. Like why you gotta do me like that? No, seriously.
I try to be humble.
Seriously. Well, you know what? When you're Grant Stoner, it's hard to be humble. I understand that. But no, Grant, seriously, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Like I said,
of course.
When it comes to things, of course, dude. Like when it comes to things like accessibility and difficulty levels and stuff like that, we need to have a seasoned voice on who knows what they're talking about. And I could think of no one better to fill that role tonight than Grant. I noticed, by the way, that Brittany is still not in the call. So I'm going to continue to give her shit until she actually hops in the call. That is not going to stop tonight. So, guys, got a lot to talk about tonight, right? It has been wait, am I quiet? Am I a little quiet? Should I turn my volume up a little bit? Why don't I turn my volume up a little bit? I'm going to turn my volume up a little bit, and I'm going to turn everybody else down. I'm just kidding. I'm not going to do that. There we go. That should be better. My vocals should be much improved now. So, it's been kind of a shitty week for a lot of people, right? And the reason that is the case is the discourse has returned. Yes, Jeff, I'm a very quiet person by nature. Everybody knows this. Very, very quiet. It's been a kind of a shitty week for games discourse. And if you are anywhere near the hellscape that is Twitter, you know exactly what I'm talking about. The talk this week has been about difficulty in games, accessibility, and the crime of playing on easy as a reviewer. And I want to preface this with this came about like the reason we're talking about this, the reason this is even a thing is because of a fucking harassment campaign. Like let's just call it what it is. It's a fucking harassment campaign from a tweet that was like a week old from our friend Natalie. And this tweet about reviewers playing on easy mode, which there's nothing fucking wrong with that. got screen capped by a shitty individual. We're not going to mention any names here because I don't want to give these people a single mention on our podcast. But got screen capped and tweeted out by a shitty individual. Then got screen capped and tweeted out by a very shitty snake-like individual. And at that point, like, Natalie had to lock her fucking account. And if you have to lock your fucking account, if somebody has to lock their account because they're getting too much hate, then we've got a fucking problem. So I want to preface, so before we launch into the conversation, I want to just say to anybody who is harassing Natalie or any reviewer or anybody, any person who chooses to play their games on easy, fuck you. Fuck you. Seriously, like, you know, eat my ass from the front. You got to be fucking kidding me. Like there are a billion fucking things to worry about in this world right now. There's a billion fucking things to worry about in this country right now. And you're fucking the hill you're going to die on. The hill you're going to fucking die on, that you're going to waste a whole day fucking tweeting about and getting mad about, is whether or not somebody chooses to play a game on fucking easy mode. Oh, but, you know, you're not gonna, you know, it's not the way the fucking developer intended it. Well, here's the thing. If there's a fucking easy mode in the game and you play it, that is how the developer intended you to play it. The same goes for a normal mode or a hard difficulty or a fucking godlike difficulty or fucking uber difficulty. If you play on any one of those, you are playing the game the way the developer intended. Full stop. And this shit has got to fucking stop. Like, I am fucking, hold on a minute. Because I will not have, okay, yeah, all right, cool. I wanted to make sure that we are curating our chat, because I'm not going to have fucking, I'm not going to have anybody talking like that. But, you know, this shit has gone fucking far enough, man. Like, poor fucking Natalie is beside herself. You've got individuals who want to leave journalism because of this shit. And, you know, people don't fucking understand the mental effect that this has on people when you do this, especially over something as petty and fucking minuscule as a goddamn game. Like, fuck you. Fucking, anyway, I'll get off my soapbox now. Let's start with, well, you know what? Accessibility and difficulty, Grant, I think are intertwined, but you once gave me a really good education on why something like an easy mode doesn't go anywhere far enough when we're talking about accessibility. And I was hoping you could explain why.
Yeah. So, first off, I think difficulty modes are good. And I think having invincibility modes like Psychonauts is a very good option for people who need them or choose to play that way. But if that's the only feature you have in your game, that won't fix everything. So, for example, one of my favorite games that I actually never finished was Jedi Fallen Order. I love the story, I love the world, I love the gameplay, but because of the game mechanics, such as traversal, it was too tiring for me to play. So even though there were 4 difficulty options to choose from, every time I would get to an encounter, after spending an egregious amount of time climbing up or down, left or right, or what have you, I was too tired to beat the encounter. And even though I had it originally on Jedi Knight mode, the enemies were still too challenging for me because I didn't have the energy to beat the game based on something that easy mode would have never fixed. So while they're important, they don't make up for the fact that your game can still be unplayable for so many disabled people.
How does it make you feel? And I already know the question to this, but I think people actually, well, I already know the answer to this, but I think people need to actually hear someone like you say it. When you see people gatekeep and talk about, well, you know what, some people just aren't meant to play some games. Like, you know, sorry to hate to break it to you, but Dark Souls isn't for everybody. You know, shit like that. as somebody who has just as much of a right to play a video game as anybody else on this planet, but is just simply unable to due to being physically disabled.
Mhm.
How does that make you feel?
I don't like to give them thought because ultimately they're never going to accept other voices or ideas or people into their realm. And the fact that they keep pushing, it's usually just white noise at the end of the day. Very few developers will ever listen to them. Very few developers will ever take their advice and make games more difficult. And we've seen that. We've seen Psychonauts to Double Fine developer actively say everyone should play our game.
Yeah, that's
We've
where a lot of
seen
this started this week.
right. We've seen Cory Balrog from God of War actively say everyone should play my game. We've seen studios like Microsoft and Sony, and even some Nintendo titles, where they have a load of incredible accessibility features and options. I do want to note that sometimes it's very difficult to avoid the harassment and the hatred that we see because it's never ending. But I take some peace knowing that ultimately their screaming into the void does nothing. It doesn't prevent us from playing. It doesn't push us out. The developers are ultimately the ones who make that decision. And as more developers have shown consistently that they care about inclusivity, it's proof that their voices, in the grand scheme of things, don't really matter.
Man, dude, I'm sorry that we even have to talk about this.
It's never ending.
I know, and that is one of the things that is just. I mean, if it's frustrating for me, an able-bodied individual, I know how frustrating it must be for you. And Jeff, you have obviously you are not a disabled person, but you have been having serious issues with your hands, for some time now. And Jeff, I mean, there was a period of like 6 months where you couldn't play a game, Jeff.
Mm-hmm.
Has that experience given you kind of a new again, while stressing that Jeff is not a disabled person, but has that experience, Jeff, given you kind of a new angle on this, or kind of a new insight into why everybody should be able to play?
I don't know if that specifically has changed much. I think it, at least not in terms of difficulty, right? I basically had to move away from using a mouse and keyboard. Like, I play mostly on PC, but now I exclusively play with a controller. So, like, I expect modern games to have really good controller support and good customization and stuff like that. And obviously, what Xbox is doing with the adaptive controller is great. But when it comes to like the difficulty stuff, I don't really have that perspective because, like you said, I don't have a ton of any major physical disabilities. But the thing I've said before and I'll say again is, like, difficulty, when this discussion comes up, it's like people seem to think that there's like three difficulty settings and you can just like notch one in and that's whatever. Like, they talk about the developer vision, right, or the artistic vision, and that everyone should have the same experience, but that's a lie because nobody has the same experience because everyone has different bodies, everyone has different reaction times, everyone's brain works differently. So to me, a game is like a car, right? A manufacturer could create a car and then you roll it out of the factory and someone buys it. But depending on your height, depending on your age, depending on your eyesight, your vision, everyone's experience driving that car is going to be different. And you have the ability to, adjust your seat, adjust your mirrors, maybe some modifications or something to make it drivable for you, because the out of the box experience is going to vary wildly. And games are the same way. Like, there's people out there, I have friends, they find Dark Souls easy. They can play it with one hand, like they can beat it in 3 hours. It's a joke to them. And they actually probably need an even harder mode. But there's like people like me that, I've been playing games almost my whole life, and I'm just not good. I'm just not good at them. I'm not going to get better. And it's so my experience playing these games is not the same as someone else's. So I don't know. It's you need to have some kind of modifications because all people aren't created equal. So why would you think you could create one game and have everyone have an equal experience? That's really the only insight I can offer. Because yeah.
It feels like this is a topic that we have to revisit every 4 or 5 months at this point.
It really is. It's like clockwork. You can tell, like, at the end of every 4th or 5th month, you can
Grant,
feel it in the air
like,
coming back.
and like, look, like I think we can all agree that there are developers that have gotten better about this, right? Like, I don't want to sit here and try to give the impression that there has not been any forward momentum in the industry, because there absolutely has been. But I feel like a lot of developers are extremely slow or extremely reluctant to push forward on some of this stuff, specifically because of the reactions of a large swath of the gaming community. Like, for example, can you imagine the vitriol if, for example, Elden Ring had an easy mode? Can you imagine the blowback, the pushback from a certain crowd of gamers?
That will never. The thing I can safely say for their benefit is those games will never have difficulty modes ever. But that doesn't mean they can't be accessible.
So,
which is the one like sort of solace that we can take in the fact that they may not have easy mode, but the features that they do have allow people like us to play.
So I want to add, so Jeff, real quick, you look like you wanted to say something.
No, I was just gonna say, I was really disappointed. You brought up Elden Ring. I was really disappointed when the Demon Souls remake came out from Blue Point, and they basically, said, and yeah, like, again, there's some distinction between accessibility and difficulty, but difficulty is also accessibility for different reasons, and they basically came out and said, like, yeah, we didn't even think about adding any any options, no sliders, nothing. Like, we wanted to just again recreate that pure experience. And I thought that was pretty, especially because Sony has really been I think from their first party studios at least been I would say one of the better leaders in terms of making games playable to a larger audience. So it was a little disheartening to see that from them.
And Grant, do you like, where do we go from here, right? Because I feel like, but again, like we've stated, we revisit this argument multiple times a year. And anytime you see a major developer take strides on accessibility, there is always that crowd. There is always that part of the community that says, well, this is why gatekeeping is good, and gaming is, some games just aren't for everybody, and how do we convince them, or is there, or are some people just hopeless? Like are there some people who just cannot be reached by this? And what is it, like a sense of accomplishment for them, like a sense of validation, like I need to, this is my hobby and I can't let it, like what drives that? I genuinely don't understand it.
I've always thought that because I've tried to sort of get in their head to understand why they think the way that they do. And for me, being disabled, I want to have points in my life that I have complete control over. I want to be able to control my game, control the things on my desk, the things that I can use, or the things that I have in my life that I have complete control over. So I understand why they feel that way, but ultimately, how other people play a game will never affect how they play the game. So at the end of the day, you and I can still purchase the same exact game, maybe not have the same exact experience, At the end of the day, we beat the final boss, we roll credits, we get our achievements, our trophies, or what have you. And ultimately, that's what matters, in my opinion.
Yeah, I wish I had an answer for this. And there are members of my own family who are like, I mean, sorry, but not everybody's meant to play every game, and that's okay. And it's like, well, no, it's not okay. That's like saying not everybody is supposed to watch. That's like saying only some people can watch Avengers. Why? Well, because sorry, that's the way it is. And it's like, that doesn't make any fucking sense. Some people are only allowed to eat steak and others can't eat steak. You have to eat, you have to eat chicken. Well, it's like, well, I want steak. Yeah, but you can't have it. And, I don't like more people playing more games. This is a fact. This isn't just me talking on my ass. More people playing games is good for the industry because more people playing means what? More sales, right? And if there's more sales, there's more money. And if there's more money, there's what? More games. Oh, it's weird how that shit works. Fucking unbelievable. Holy shit, we just cracked the fucking case. Like, wow, I don't believe it. I mean, seriously though, like pull your fucking head out of your ass. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like look at the fucking period the gaming industry went through around 2011, 2012, right? Like everybody was talking, there were articles. You guys remember this? There were articles about how gaming was dying, right? They're like, oh, this is the last console generation, right? Blah, blah, blah. No, of course, that was all nonsense, but it's a fact that the industry was stagnating at that point. All three of the major consoles were not selling incredibly well. They just weren't. And things are fucking booming now. The goddamn console like video games account for more revenue than movies and television and music combined worldwide. It is the largest entertainment industry in the world. Do you really want to go back to the days of 2011 and 2012 when people said games were dying? And the reason that more people, part of the reason, not the whole reason, but part of the reason more people are playing is because more people are able to play. Because, go ahead, Jeff.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
You touched on other industries, and even before that, I was thinking about what Grant said about having control over some of these things, the things on your desk and stuff like that. And games are like a really weird medium. I think about this a lot because, again, we hear people talk about the artistic vision, or say not every game has to be for everybody. The same way not every movie has to be for everybody. But like when we talk about movies, maybe horror movies aren't for everyone. We don't mean not everyone can watch them. We just mean you may not like it, but you can at least still, watch it, or with subtitles, descriptive audio. You still have the ability to take that in and evaluate it. Games are weird because they are art, and I believe they're art, and they are a creative medium, but they're also a product. They're also a toy. They're something that you buy with your money, and in some ways you should have control over them. The same way when I buy a headset, I should be able to adjust the volume and mute my, I should have some level of ability to modify them to fit my needs, because they are a consumer product. At the same time, they're telling a story. So those arguments don't really hold much weight either, I don't think, and I'm not sure if people really consider that.
Well, I think another part of the problem, and Grant, you tell me if I'm wrong, it boils down to simple, and I don't think there's a term for this. I'll say able-bodied privilege.
100%.
Right.
If you ask yourself, why are people pissed off? The only answer, literally the only answer, is ableism. It's always the answer.
Yeah.
Ableism is so seeped into gaming culture, from the slurs that you hear on online lobbies to developers not implementing features or options years ago to social media interactions. It's always about ableism.
And I think a large part of this is due to like where does ableism come from, right? You have somebody like me, who is an able-bodied individual, but I want everybody to play. I want as much accessibility in games as possible.
Mm-hmm.
I want whatever it takes to make games more accessible to individuals who are not, frankly, as lucky as I am. That I'll take it. Any sacrifice that needs to be made, whatever. Let's fucking make it. But that's because I have empathy. And I think, I think a large part of what is driving all this ableism in the gaming industry. Brittany is in chat, by the way. Brittany, I thought you were going to be on the call.
She's hopping on. She's just waiting for a good time to hop in. So
okay, I'm giving her shit. I'm literally just giving her shit. We love you, Brittany. But I lost my train of thought. All right. A lot of this boils down to a lack of empathy. Like, empathy is the ability to put yourself in the shoes of. I'm kidding, Britt. Empathy is the ability to put yourself in the shoes of somebody else and see the world through their eyes and understand why they view the world the way they do. To suffer with you, to struggle with you. Some people are able to do that, and some people, I don't think it's a matter of they're not able to do that, they just choose not to. And all I can, I can't change anybody's mind, but all I can do is just say, if that is your mindset, if that is your worldview, like if you cannot empathize with somebody who is just does not have the full physical ability to do something as simple as play a video game as you, then you are living a hollow and empty life. And you need to wake up tomorrow morning and look in the mirror and wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes, move your hands around, and then look at yourself and say, today's a good day because I can do all that. And there are some people who can't. And until you can appreciate what you have, then you're not going to be able to empathize with anybody. And that's a really shitty way to live. It just is. Like, I can't imagine not being able to empathize with somebody. Brittany's here, by the way. Hi, Britt.
Hello.
Brittany, I want to get you on this. Like we're talking about easy difficulties and accessibility and what are your thoughts on all this? Because like I know where you stand, but especially given the events of the past week, like, and all the bullshit on Twitter, like where is your headspace right now?
I think we need to get out of the mindset that easy mode somehow invalidates your own playthroughs and self-worth and accomplishments, because I think that's a lot what a lot of anger boils down to is people somehow get validation out of playing these games on harder difficulties. And here's what I don't understand. Like, you can still do those things with easy mode enabled. You can still have those moments just like people who play on easy mode are going to have those moments, right? Like, it's so close together. Like, they want to feel good about the things they do. They want to feel good and accomplished about, being able to beat the boss on the hardest difficulty. Well, for some people, playing on easy mode and playing those bosses is hard. Like, it is difficult. So it doesn't make any sense to me that that's their argument. Like, it's just like you said, you can't convince people to empathize. Like, at the end of the day, you can't convince people to look at somebody else and be like, maybe they could benefit from this, or even if it's not for me, I can see how this would help somebody else. Like, you can't teach people to give a shit about anybody else. If I've learned anything from the past 5 years, it's that you cannot convince people to give a shit about somebody else. And that's what's so frustrating, is it's like the lack of empathy And at least for me, that's what's frustrating, is the lack of empathy. And just like I said, like, somehow easy mode invalidates your experiences. That's not the way I see it.
Well, and let's talk about that for a minute because I mean, Jeff, you play most of your games on easy, and
I
it's
actually play most of them on very easy.
yeah, and it's not because you are not any good at the game. It's because you don't feel like you are the kind of person who just wants to play a game and enjoy it and not have to worry about oh, I didn't time my dodge right, or
I mean, it's a bit of both. Like, sometimes I legitimately like I was playing Mass Effect 2 on the easiest difficulty and I'm actually dying a lot. So there's no way I wouldn't be able to finish it if it was on a harder one. But you're like, life is hard. Life is challenging. Life's a struggle. Life kicks your ass. So like, why do I want to come home and have a game kick my ass? Right? Like,
yeah.
That's supposed to be my relaxation. That's my stress reliever. That's my thing where I can feel good. And, like maybe things I can't do in real life, I want to feel empowered in a game. And, the having those options makes me feel that way. And I don't know, just let me do it. It's like, why would you go to someone has a basketball hoop on their driveway and it's like 4 feet off the ground. Would you just go to someone's random driveway and say like, excuse me, you fucking idiot. You gotta raise that up 10 feet or I'm gonna like, no, who cares?
You're not a true
Why don't you get some
baller if you don't raise
why don't you get some? Why don't you knock on that person's door? Why don't you get some fucking ups, motherfucker? No, that's a great point. Actually,
my basement. Like, I'm just.
It's the same. It's the same concept as like going into the gym and walking up to somebody who's putting up like 450 on the bench and saying, "Bro, why don't you put some fucking plate on there? Okay, another 50 pounds ain't gonna kill you. Like, why don't you put some motherfucking plate on there?" It's the same concept, right? It's dick measuring. And somebody on Twitter the other day said to me, actually, it's not cool to play games on easy mode if you're a reviewer because you can beat the game without using the mechanics that the game requires. And I'm like,
I was just about to bring that up.
Well, and Brittany, I'm like, motherfucker, I have seen no hit runs of Sekiro. Okay, so that's a motherfucker who's playing one of the hardest games in existence, and he is not using any of the mechanics meant to win because he's not using any fucking healing items. Okay, so don't sit here and fucking tell me that like fuck you. Like,
well, and it's just this like mentality, like journalists need to fucking crunch and play these hard difficulties to give an accurate review of a game. Like, one, I love journalists, don't get me wrong, but their words are not like your go-to. Somebody writing a review about a video game, in no way whatsoever should impact how you play a game, right? Like, so if they don't have time to sit and play a game on the hardest difficulty and to give you an accurate, like, that's just,
well,
it's
especially
just bullshit.
like
It's
fucking
stupid.
and Grant knows this. Like, fucking deadlines exist in the world, and
I hate them so much.
yeah, Grant, you know this. Like, I know journalist friends who are like, I got, for example, our friend Steve Bowling, got Final Fantasy VII Remake, and he had like 2 days to fucking play it for review. He had 2 fucking days. Like, I mean, people cannot play this shit. I mean, people at the end of the day, like reviewers, gotta get paid. You gotta get paid, and you get paid by getting a fucking review out. And
there's just too much pressure on journalists in general, and how people view their work, and the standards that they set for journalists are absolutely ridiculous. Like, I don't envy them, and they have all my love and support through all this bullshit, because it's just, there's no appeasing that crowd whatsoever.
There a lot of this too stems from the Cuphead video that was released oh goodness, I'm bad with dates, but several years ago, where the reviewer couldn't jump. We've all seen the viral video, the reviewer who couldn't play Cuphead, and it's now a meme amongst certain groups of people. So they take that mentality and apply it to all journalists, regardless of publication or game. And they have this perceived notion of difficulty that they assume no journalist can do because of the Cuphead video. But that was the catalyst for all of this, was the Cuphead video.
Like dude, I feel so like I wish that there was something I could actually fucking do to like I just feel powerless, man, because I have so many friends who just want to play games, who just want to play games, and it makes me like I have to admit, like I feel a good deal of guilt myself sometimes, because like, you know, I'll sit here, look, and I'll have a fucking come to Jesus moment here. Like I got real fucking angry over the Final Fantasy remasters, right? Because they're not exactly what I wanted. But at the end of the day, it's really not that fucking important, because you know, there are some people who would fucking kill to be able to play games the way I play them. And they can't. And you know, that is something that not only they have to live with, but I have to live with, because I'm sitting here getting mad about something that you know, is to be honest with you, fucking small and petty, and you know, not to sit here and invalidate my own you know, my own issues with things, because that's not what I want to do. But at the same time, like, you know, I can't help but think that there are things that are far more important than worrying about whether or not a fucking font in a Final Fantasy game is too small or doesn't fit the.
Well, that actually is important.
Oh, that's true. That is important. Like I'm not gonna say that's not important, but there are fucking people out there who can't play those remasters. They just can't. They're because and I'll bet you they would fucking love to. And you know, it really, like, sitting here and being confronted with it and talking about it really makes me, I don't know, I guess kind of reflect on what's important. And that's that I need to remember, I need to check myself sometimes and remember how fortunate I am, and understand that there are things that I could do better.
But that's the difference between you and them, is that you have these self-reflecting moments where, you know, they don't. They just care about their fucking easy mode. And I mean, they're non-easy modes, and it's a conversation much like the Switch Pro that I'm tired of having, right? Like, just let people play what they want. Let people be happy. Like, you don't have to worry about how somebody else plays a game. You know, if somebody writes a review for a game and you don't agree with it because of the difficulty they play on, that's on you. You can still go play the fucking game. Like, you don't got to listen to people's reviews to decide whether or not you want to play a game. Like, just do your shit. Like, do what makes you happy. At the end of the day, that's what anybody's trying to do. That's what video games exist for, is to get some kind of escape from reality, and everybody deserves a chance at that. No matter what you think, no matter what you feel, everybody deserves a chance to have this some sort of escape to a fantasy world. And if you don't agree with that, then you can suck my left tit. That's how I feel about it.
Wow. We're getting dark in here. So there is, why you know what? I don't want to know. So there is one thing before we move on to our next topic. One, before I say this, Grant, is there anything else that you wanted to say on this? Because this is something that is deeply important to you and personal.
I would just say that for the critics for these Soulsborne games, and in terms of difficulty, it's ironic because they're the same people who will use exploits and cheats to be bosses.
Yep.
I mean, I've beaten Dark Souls 1, 2, and 3 and Bloodborne. I've used some of those exploits that the community suggested. But whenever I use a magic build, which is considered easier, that's when the hatred comes on. So it's very selective in what they choose to attack, which ultimately to me makes it more entertaining whenever I can beat the game
Yep.
faster than them.
I can imagine,
over-
man. I can only imagine the how just like kind of smug that and satisfying that must be.
The final boss for Dark Souls 1, I was a mage. I killed him in 3 hits.
So
I
so
entered, I entered the arena and he died.
I'm not gonna
That was
lie.
it.
What I did with Gwyn is I just fucking cheesed him. I stood on that little step and I just kept like kicking him
Yeah.
back and hit. Yeah, I just cheesed the shit out of him.
Yeah, I
Like,
guarantee you.
I'll
I
fucking admit it.
guarantee you.
Like,
There are YouTube videos and Reddit posts and Twitter threads where hundreds of people have done the same thing and you're praised for it. Yeah, it doesn't.
and like, look, like I think this is an important point to make before we move on, right? Like, we're not sitting here and saying, look, you know, if you are an able-bodied individual and you do something incredible in a game that was extremely difficult, brag about it. Like nobody's telling you you
Oh,
can't
yeah.
do that. Like, fucking brag
Oh,
about
yeah.
that shit. Live that shit up. Own
Yeah.
that shit.
Yeah.
Just don't get mad when somebody plays that shit on easy. Or when somebody asks for accessibility options so they can try it. I mean, it doesn't invalidate your experience. It doesn't take away your accomplishment.
Yeah.
You've got that fucking trophy, that PlayStation trophy or that Xbox achievement for doing that really hard shit. Like, you know, it's right there for the world to see. Like, if you need validation, there it is. Like, you've already got it. So just let people get theirs. Like, it doesn't fucking matter. Like it doesn't fucking matter. And a game having the ability or having the accessibility options to allow other people to play it does not take away what you have achieved. Like, I finished the final boss without getting hit on uber difficulty. Fucking outstanding. Well done. Like, that's fucking awesome. You know, like, good on you. But somebody playing the same game with some kind of accessibility slider on or at a lower difficulty doesn't fucking change what you did. It doesn't. And I'll end this topic with this. If a reviewer plays a game on easy and they finish the game and they review the game based on their experience, their opinion is not fucking worthless. As some snake-like individuals on Twitter like to say. It's not worthless, because what you've just done is not only shit on people just trying to get their jobs done in time to get a fucking paycheck. What you've also done is shit on people who have to play on easy because that's the only accessibility option available to them. Because as an industry, we still have not arrived
That's bare minimum. Yeah.
That's bare fucking minimum, right? Like, as an industry, we have not arrived at the place where we need to be in that regard. And you, individual, are speaking from a position of extreme privilege. Because you are an able-bodied individual, just as I am. So I am a privileged, and in this regard, I am a privileged individual because I have control over all my motor functions. And some people are not as fucking lucky as you or I. They're just not. And to disregard those fucking people and say that their opinion is worthless, who the fuck are you? So I'll tell you what you can do. You can take your fucking opinions and you can shove them right up your fucking funky little ass. Okay? Fuck you. People like that are irrelevant. Doesn't matter how big your fucking audience is. People like that will never hold sway in this industry again. And for that, we should be thankful. Because the industry is a better fucking place without you. Fuck you. I'm sorry. I'm so mad about what's going on with Natalie that I just... Hard to focus, man. hard to focus.
really
Like
rough.
I'm really fucking angry for her. I'm really fucking angry.
I always tell people too, like, if you don't like the reviewer, just don't read.
Just don't read the fucking review. Like, leave them
It's
alone.
really easy.
Like,
It's really easy.
you know how much
to
fucking
find.
you know how much fucking effort it takes not to screen cap somebody who's just talking about the way they prefer to review a game? You know how much fucking effort that takes not to do? Fucking zero. It takes fucking zero effort to do that. And now you've got a young fucking journalist questioning her place in the industry because of the fucking harassment that you and your fucking cronies have brought down on her. What the fuck is wrong with you? She didn't fucking hurt you. She didn't do anything to you. And the way she fucking reviews the game, the way she chooses to review the game, has no fucking bearing on you, or how you live your life, or how you play your fucking games, or how you podcast, or anything. Grow some fucking empathy. Be a fucking human being. Fucking pathetic. All right, I'm done. Fucking. All right. Here's what we're gonna do now. We're gonna talk about fucking Steam Deck.
Oh.
And so we're gonna kick it off with this. I got a picture right here of the motherfucking controller. Well, not the controller, but like the right side of the unit. And I want to show this to everybody here. So I'm pulling it up on the stream here now. Look at this. Look at this. Look at the B button sliding off the edge of the fucking. It's like somebody fucking reached their hand out and grabbed that thing because it's falling off.
This is a nightmare for me. This controller is an absolute nightmare for me.
Oh my god. Sorry, I was yelling so I'm so fucking angry I'm choking. But not at the controller, at fucking assholes on Twitter. I'm not angry at the controller. I'm bemused at the fucking controller. But look at this shit. Like I don't have the full picture here, but this motherfucker, like, okay, so it's, Brittany, I don't know if you know this or not. We talked about this earlier, but it's 156% heavier than the Switch and 350% thicker than the Switch.
Listen, normally I'm not a complainer about big and thick, but in this case, I am very much so. I'm very much so not. Stop! You're distracting me. And so I have small hands, and this conversation is not going. I have small hands, and this controller is not meant for me, and that's
Somebody screen cap that. Somebody clip it. Please continue.
So I have small hands, and this controller does not look me friendly. And I posted that on Twitter today, and I got a lot of response about it. A lot of people agree. I don't think it's going to be friendly towards people who have carpal tunnel. I don't think even with small hands, it's going to be very hands friendly. Mainly because, like, okay, so you're gripping it at the top, right? Like, what if the base doesn't rest well against my palms and my wrists? Like, how am I supposed to hold it? Like, am I just supposed to? I don't know. It doesn't seem like it's gonna be comfy for me.
You're supposed to. Anyway, like.
I completely ruined this conversation.
I don't know. I got nothing.
I don't even like.
I move on from like the grip discourse. And
yeah,
maybe we talk about.
So okay, like all right. I'm gonna bring this back to. I'm gonna center this.
I tried.
I'm gonna center this once again. I'm gonna bring I'm gonna bring the adults back into the room and talk. I'm not an adult. Who the fuck am I kidding? Stop in the fucking chat. Holy shit. Stop fucking trying to distract me. Jesus Christ, Brittany. So the Steam Deck, $399 for the base model, $529 if you want it with the, I think with the case, or there's something that comes with it, and then there's like an $800 or like a $700, $800 model. Like this motherfucker is expensive, and I saw a lot of talk today about how this would, it's like a community bundle or something. Thank you. But I saw a lot of talk today about how, well, man, they really took the steam, pun intended, out of the Switch OLED pre-orders today. And I'm like, did they though? Because the fucking Switch Pro, or the Switch Pro, Jesus, the Switch OLED, and the fucking chat is about to. Anyway,
I'll jump in here, John, because I think I know where you're going. Like
the Switch OLED, right? Like the Switch OLED and they're going for two completely different audiences. Like,
yeah, like let's be real, right? People buy Switches to play Nintendo games. It's great that they can play lots of other games, but mostly I think a lot of them want to play Nintendo games. And to me, the Steam Deck is not even targeting Nintendo play. Like this is, to me, targeted at Steam players, people who have a PC already, because the whole appeal of this is being able to take your entire Steam library and play it in bed and not streaming, right? Like not,
right.
Compression, like you're actually playing all your Steam games natively on a portable computer in like a Switch form factor that's not quite as nice. So, I don't know, like I think I'm like, I feel like I'm I always feel like I'm the minority on everything, and I think it looks like not bad. It's definitely, the weight is a hurdle, because even the original Switch, the biggest barrier to me other than the Joy-Cons was the weight. It was just, I don't lift, like I'm pretty weak and scrawny, and I was like, after like 10 minutes, I was like, yeah, and after 10 minutes, I'm like, all right, I just want to like rest this on something, so I'd like get a pillow to brace it. So I don't want to be holding something this heavy for that period of time phrasing. But it, like, I don't know, the controller thing is apparently it's comfy to hold. From I think IGN put up a preview that said so. Again, it's
but also like how long did they hold it, right? Because like, not to puff myself up, but I am not weak and scrawny. I am a very big, powerful guy, and after about an hour of holding a regular Switch, like my fucking forearms start to fall asleep. I'm like, god damn, and I'm like, you guys have to do that? Like, you fucking have to shake your hands and shit. You're like, all right, my shit's falling asleep now. I gotta fucking wake it up. Like, I can't imagine holding like a pound and a half. This thing weighs a pound and a half, and that doesn't sound like a lot, right? Like you're like, oh, a pound and a half, whatever. I'm still fucking feeling the effects of the whiskey that I inhaled. A pound and a half. That's like when you're holding that shit, it's plyometrics, right? Like, or not plyometrics, symmetrics. When you're holding that shit for like 3 hours, that's a fucking workout. And like, I mean, Grant, like I don't know how much of a PC gamer you are as opposed to a console player. Is it like what are your thoughts on the reveal of the Steam Deck, aside from the fact that it is horrifically ugly? Like, let's face it, this motherfucker's ugly. What's that?
It's not that it's a brick, just a massive brick. I am primarily a PC gamer, mostly because for me, it's a lot easier to control movements with a mouse and WASD than it is with two joysticks.
That makes sense.
There are certain genres that I only play on console, like JRPGs, because those are easier on consoles with a joystick than WASD movement. For me, the biggest issue is there is no way that someone like me is gonna be able to use this device. It's huge. The
It
buttons are too far spaced. The joysticks are too far spaced. You have bumpers in the back. You can't remove the joysticks like the Switch. It's just a brick that I will never purchase because there's no way that I will ever be able to use it.
I just want to I would like real quick, Grant. I would like Jeff to say for the people listening on podcast services what he put in the chat, because the people deserve to hear it, Jeff. Like Jeff, what is Jeff?
So loud.
Jeff, what is a selling point of the Steam Deck?
It's not on the box, although it might be on the box when it ships to retailers. But I believe you can now play the critically acclaimed MMORPG Final Fantasy XIV up to level 60, including Heaven's Ward, on the toilet or in your bed.
Amazing.
So
like, it's.
Can you really put a price on that?
Absolutely not. Like I like, who wouldn't want to run a solo Pathalgan run while dropping a deuce? Like who doesn't want to do that? I mean, I'm not going to say no to that. Like it's because I feel like right as you finish the raid too, like right as you finish it, just to kind of cap everything off. I think I just grossed myself out. That's pretty gross. But this is like, I want to ask the whole group what Brittany, goddamn.
It's the whole fucking show.
Brittany's just determined to fucking throw a wrench into every facet of the show tonight. God damn it, Brittany. Fuck. Okay.
Again, for our audio listeners, Britt said, fighting Titan while fighting my own Titan. I didn't want to. I want to make sure everyone gets to experience that.
Oh, Jesus Christ! I'm gonna have a sore fucking throat by the time this podcast is over. I've put.
You can borrow my inhaler.
Oh God, I'm gonna fucking need it.
I'll mail it to you.
So, how do we think this is gonna sell? Because one, it is mad fucking expensive, and two, like the Switch, I'm not talking like the Switch Lite. The OG Switch is not like, yeah, it's portable, but it's not like slip in your back pocket portable. It's not as portable as Nintendo likes to say it is, right? Like, I'll play it in my bed, but am I gonna pull this thing out in the middle of the fucking line of the DMV? And no, I'm not gonna do that. The fucking Stream Deck is twice as less portable as the Switch. So I'm wondering really who this is for, and is this something that appeals to the core PC crowd? Because these guys, I'm not a PC gamer, full disclosure, but I mean, PC gaming is one, extremely popular, and two, you can get incredible visual fidelity on if you've got a powerful enough rig, right? Grant knows this, Jeff knows this. For those individuals who don't travel for their jobs or anything, right? Like, how appealing is this? Like who is this? I'm struggling to figure out who this is for.
I think it's one of those, I agree. I'm not sure. I'm curious to hear what Grant thinks, but to me, I think the audience is more the PC crowd. Like you said, it's a little pricier. Just the way the games are delivered, the fact it's going to be on Steam. I don't see this being the same audience as the Switch, where it's your kind of more casual people grabbing Mario Kart and stuff like that. It looks and feels and is priced like an enthusiast product, like a premium product. And if there's anything we know, the PC crowd can be very entitled and very fickle. And I find it a little alarming that there was not really any mention of resolution or frame rate. They have a lot of information in the tech specs. But like, it sounds like if you're gonna put out something like this that plays, it's basically a portable PC and not pay any mention of what resolution. Like,
So
that's a
actually,
little-
actually, Jeff, one thing I can tell you is that I have heard multiple people say that that at the very least the screen is not 1080p.
no, it's 800p.
It's 800p, right? So, which in the big scheme of things, in a handheld, not as important because everything is far more condensed. All those pixels are closer together, and a 1080p handle is gonna fucking enjoy that battery that lasts for 20 minutes. But at the same time, like, I'm interested to see what Grant thinks, Jeff, like you said, because I struggle to understand exactly what part of the hardcore PC gaming audience this is for.
I would say I have a bunch of friends who do a lot of traveling. For their work, so they spend a lot of time in hotels. Maybe for them. Um, but also, how expensive is it?
So the cheapest model is $399. That's the cheapest model. That's really fucking expensive. Like,
it is a mini like PlayStation or Xbox with that price. The only issue is, I guess, if you really enjoy like gaming from your bed, but also you can just set up your mouse and keyboard from your bed. But again, if you travel a lot and you're really committed to PC gaming, then maybe. I personally think it's just gonna be one of those things that a bunch of people will buy it, but they won't ever actually use it as much as they were hoping. Because at the end of the day, you have your rig right next to you. Why would you go for something
yeah, that's
that
the
you
part.
can't customize for something that you built yourself?
So that's the part that gets me, right? And but at the same time, I do understand some of the appeal behind this, because what I had not considered until a few hours after the reveal was that, you know what, you can play Xbox games on this. Like this is essentially, for lack of a better term, an Xbox handheld.
You can play Halo Infinite.
You can play
day
Halo
one.
Infinite on this thing. If you like, day and date, like the day it comes out, you can load up Halo Infinite on your Steam Deck and play it that way. So I tend to wonder if this is going to be more popular with core Xbox players than it will PC players.
See, but the trick there is like, so Microsoft, Xbox, the Game Pass, all that. On the PC side, it's all tied to the Windows Store, right? They have like cross ownership when you buy games on Xbox. Sure, you can get access to it, but they don't speak to Steam really. And the fact that this is all Steam based and it's Steam OS, and it doesn't really, I mean, Xbox does have their published games like Master Chief Collection on Steam, but Xbox players probably don't have the Steam versions of those, and I don't think they're going to go double on all their games. And then you're running into the Stadia problem where it's like, okay, I have to like buy all my games again just to play them on this new platform, and I don't think they're going to want to do that either. So, yeah, I don't know.
My biggest issue is just, if you have your rig, why would you replace it with something that isn't as powerful and can only do Steam games? But
Yeah.
Steam is huge, don't get me wrong, but it can only do Steam. Why would you limit yourself to that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. When is this? The pre-orders for this thing go live, what, tomorrow, right? I want to say pre-orders are tomorrow. I expect that it will sell out quickly. Like there's no doubt about that. As for the long-term appeal of this thing, Jeff made a really good point. Spec-wise, like, are there going to be different iterations of this thing? Can we upgrade it in some way? Are we just going to have to buy new models every few years? Because that's just one, like, if that's the route that you want to go, that's just one more expense for PC players who already dump a ton, and I'm sure Jeff and Grant, again, both know this, who already dump a ton of money into their rigs. I mean, are people really going to be willing to spend another $400 $600, $800. Like,
that's why I said, like, I don't think the price is the issue. I mean, I think the new Switch. Sorry, I'm in Canada, so like all the prices don't make sense to me. The new Switch is $350 US.
$350.
Is that
Yeah.
So this is the entry level of this is only $50 more than the Switch, and I think we're all assuming it's going to be at least more powerful. We don't know to what extent. So, these people will pay the price if it's worth it, but that's the big question right now.
Well, of course, I also do, like, full disclosure, Jeff, like, I'm sitting here talking about, will people actually do this? But I'm the asshole who went out and pre-ordered a Switch OLED that I absolutely don't need today. So,
I wasn't able to get mine. I'm incredibly jealous.
What was that, Grant?
I wasn't able to get mine. I'm incredibly jealous.
Don't worry, Grant. I promise you're gonna get one. Somehow we're gonna get you a fucking
pre-order here. Yeah.
Nintendo, if you hear this.
Nintendo, please hook my boy Grant up.
Let me DM you my address.
I got that really nice white one too, so I'm really excited about that. I'm going to be playing Metroid Dread day one on my brand new Switch OLED.
Did you pre-order it?
Did I get the Switch? Yeah, I got the white one.
Oh.
Yeah, no, I did mine in store. So I just went to a fucking GameStop and did it. I was like, I'm not even fucking around with BestBuy.com
or Target with your Skyward Sword.
I'm so fucking angry about that. Can I say something about that real quick? Now that you got me, I'm already fired up, right? And so now I need to fucking, because I ordered the goddamn Skyward Sword Joy-Cons like back in fucking January or some shit, right? I pre-ordered that shit like 6 fucking months ago. And earlier this week, I get an email from Target saying, sorry, we had to cancel your pre-order. It's not you, it's us. They didn't even tell me why. They were like, unfortunately, unforeseen circumstances dictate that we have to cancel your pre-order. Of course, we won't charge you. I'm like, you're fucking right. You're not going to charge me. But like, why the fuck do you even need to say that? But it's like, God damn it. I really fucking wanted those Skyward Sword Joy-Cons. They're beautiful.
They would look real good with that white OLED Switch too.
They're beautiful. Like, I fucking want them. Like, why can't I have them?
Is this a good time to bring up that I just canceled my Zelda Joy-Cons yesterday?
Fuck you, Jeff. Like, why would you do that to me? Why would you say that? You had them in the palm of your hand and you let them go.
Well, I don't have a dockable Switch right now, so they were useless to me.
I think it's going to be like the Animal Crossing Switch, where it's going to seem exclusive and then it's just going to come out.
Yeah, give it a few months.
Honestly,
it'll be everywhere.
I am sure, like, I'm sitting here like complaining, but I am sure that I will be able to walk into a Best Buy tomorrow and just grab a pair. So I'm not I'm not too worried about it. I'm just more annoyed that I have to fucking walk into a Best Buy tomorrow. So we have some interesting topics that were suggested to us by our Discord today. And the first topic was Jeff, what do you got? Why are butts? We were asked to discuss.
Is that an interest? I think you said interesting topics.
That is an interesting topic. Why are butts? So
because human anatomy.
Well, I mean, butts are, like, so if you don't have a butt, or a rectum, as the scientific term.
Hold on, I'm interested to see what Jeff's cat has to weigh in on this.
Sure. I love your cat. I just met your cat. I love it already.
Jeff's cat. Why are butts?
She's very loud until I put her on camera, and then she just shuts right up.
Well, I mean,
What's her name?
Luna.
Well, I mean, she's on the spot now. She's on the spot. So I will tell you why our butts. So when you eat food, and it travels down your esophagus into your stomach, the digestion process begins, right? And your stomach acids break down all that food that you've eaten, and then they move into the large intestine. Right, and that is when they are coated with a kind of a slimy, like a slimy gel. And
we already had the Titan joke. We don't need to go. We all know what happens.
Brittany,
slow it down. You're losing me. I'm not understanding.
We need to slow it down a little bit. Okay, so when the food is, so the enzymes in the small and in the large intestine break the food down and cause it to coagulate into a slimy gel-like substance. Which then
this
travels.
Has been a wild fucking episode.
Travels like I think you have 30 feet of intestine in your body, so it travels like a very long distance,
Wait, let me
down
write this
to
down.
your sphincter.
Write this down.
Alright, hold on.
Like write it in, yeah, no, take notes please. So
alright.
so when the stool at this point, when by the time it reaches your sphincter, it's stool. Right? It's stool, right? And
Yes,
and
it's
so
sphincter.
then it passes into the anal cavity. Right? And at this point,
Okay,
this is
I'm gonna stop you right there, John.
I'm a
No.
little impressed by your like how well you
no,
know
this
about
is you
your
ask
body.
look, we have to, this is why a butt is, okay? And that's where your butt comes into play, right? Because your anus is sandwiched between your butt cheeks, right? Your butt cheeks are protecting the anus, the opening of the anus, and that is where the poop comes through. And so that is why
Okay.
butts.
Next question.
That is why butts. Like if we're talking literally, that is why butts.
Mhm.
Now, did you mean like in the? Do
No,
you think
next question.
No, hold on. Like, were they talking like why do we have ass cheeks? Like, why isn't it just like a flat
No.
blank space? Like
Your
Mm-mm.
community is wild.
you have
Absolutely wild.
oh dude, you have no idea. I aside from that, the only thing I
Whoever
can think
asked
of
that question is banned.
that was Seth Rakagi, by the way.
That checks.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no, I mean, no, that checks out. But like, other than that, the only thing I can think of is like to sit down on. If you like, because I mean, if you got junk in the trunk, then that's a pretty comfy fucking thing to sit down on.
Otherwise, you got that Hank Hill.
Yeah, that's what I got, man. Like that's.
Been waiting a while to break that reference.
Damn it, Bobby. I can't sell propane and propane accessories if you're talking about my flat ass.
Listen, I could be in any kind of move, and you pop off a King of the Hill joke at me, and I am done. I am on the ground.
That got that Hank Hill.
We could talk about Final Fantasy X3.
Oh yeah, we were asked to talk about that. So first of all,
Yes.
Final Fantasy X-3. It's not Final Fantasy X3. Just
X-Men United.
throw that out into the wild. So Final Fantasy. So this is a little known fact. There's actually a story, like a written story, that acts as a sequel to Final Fantasy X-2.
This has been a thing for a long time.
It
though.
has,
Like,
right? This has actually existed for a long time.
Like, yeah, it's
Only
basically shatters the two stories that
pretty
you
much
play
like
in the first place.
Like, so here's the thing. Like, it sucks. It's like it completely invalidates the events of the first two games. Like it's not very well written. But for years now, people have been begging for this to be made a game. Why? I don't know. I would just rather have Square focus on new titles, right? Like, or literally anything else. But today, was it Nomura, Jeff, who said, who was given the interview?
Yeah, just pulling up the article. So Nomura said, if we are to make 10.3, we have a synopsis already written by Nojima, and it's sleeping right now, but the plot itself exists. And then Toriyama said, the probability is not 0, but we are not in a phase where we can talk about it yet until we have finished Final Fantasy VII Remake.
For the love of fucking Christ, finish Final Fantasy VII Remake first, please. Like, I can't, like...
Love a prequel, like, to 10. Like, let me play as fucking Braska, Jecht, and Orin.
I would actually love that.
Mm-hmm.
Would...
Like, play it from Jecht's perspective, and him getting taken from Xanarkand. So it'd essentially be 10. Just
I would love just like that preview or that journey, like seeing Yuna as a little girl and watching Braska walk away with Arn and Jack, and they're meeting with Yunalesca. Like I think that would be a really cool story to tell. That being said, you and I both know, Britt, that's not the story we'll get. Like you'll get more Titus and Yuna fan fiction, and you'll love it. And by the way, I just want to point out, it is Titus, not Titus. I don't care what Square Enix says. Titus makes no fucking sense. And
in Japanese it does.
It does, but I'm not Japanese, so I'm gonna say Titus. But I do believe, I think this is probably something that is going to fucking happen at some point.
Or give me a prequel with Unalesca, because Unalesca was the first summoner.
She was the
and
first
figure out
summoner,
how the war started.
and her
on-
husband
on
was the
everything.
first final summon, right?
Yes. What is his name?
Zayon.
Yeah.
Zayon. I'm such a fucking
Mhm.
nerd. I know that. But
I was there with you. I almost had it. It was on the
I
tip
was
of
like,
my tongue.
I'm just like casually like, oh, it's Zayon. Don't you fucking even Final Fantasy, bro? But yeah, I am sure that this is something that is going to fucking happen. I don't think it's anywhere close. I think this is probably like a decade away. But I think it will.
If it even happens.
I am pretty confident it will. I think Final Fantasy X is an extremely revered, it's just a very beloved game. And it's not my favorite Final Fantasy. I think it's good. So I'm not like chomping at the bit for a Final Fantasy X-3. Britt, I don't know how you feel. Like
I love Final Fantasy X. I wouldn't be mad if they released a
but if we're
prequel
just getting
or sequel.
But if we're just getting a continuation of Yuna and Titus's story, like, is that something that appeals to you, or would you rather see, for
Not
example,
if it's based on what they had before. Like they realize they're terrible for each other and break up essentially.
yeah, like it's not great.
I don't want that. I want a
it's-
good love story.
It's really not great. But yeah, I mean, there's not really much else to say about that, because it is an extremely hypothetical situation. We also got asked to talk about the best potato. And I'll say right now, like if you're talking
It's
like
not a steak fry.
no, I was gonna say mashed.
Yeah.
The best
Any
potato.
other answer is wrong.
The best potato is a mashed potato with a little bit of sour cream mixed in, some chives. And you got to whip that shit with some heavy cream. Throw some butter in there. A little salt, pepper. Mashed potatoes are the best. Now, if you're talking like raw potatoes, like I've got to go with red potatoes, because they're versatile. You can use red potatoes in potato salad, mashed potatoes. You can fucking slice those motherfuckers in half, put a little rosemary, thyme on them, coat them some olive oil, salt and pepper, throw that shit in the oven at 400 degrees for like 20 minutes, come out nice and crispy. Though, like, red potatoes are, in my opinion, the top tier potato.
I would say real quick because I got to mute. Mine is a potato chip. That is the best potato variation ever. Best way you can have a potato.
I would argue that a potato skin is better.
I'm gonna risk making someone mad, and I'm gonna say
Jesus.
baked potato, and you eat the skin with it.
Oh yes, absolutely.
That's fair.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. My wife absolutely hates it. She will not
No.
touch the skin. I'm like,
No.
come on, it's the best part. Okay.
No, because like a proper baked potato, or I'm sorry, a
Mhm.
proper like a proper baked potato, the skin is like nice. It's got that kind of like brown, crispy texture to it. Like a potato skin, for example. If you don't eat the potato skin, if you don't eat the skin and everything, you are not a human being. Like potato skins, like you're supposed to eat the skin. It's like chicken skin, right? Like people who peel the skin off chicken disgust me. And
My
I'm
favorite
sorry.
kind of people
What's
are
that?
the people who go. My favorite kind of people are the people who go to KFC and then take the skin off of it and just eat the chicken.
Oh, you
I
know
love those people.
what's
I
worse?
take the chicken out of the KFC and I eat the skin.
I was gonna say, like, what if you just pull the skin off and don't eat the chicken? Like, what if just like
You're not missing much.
you're not? Yeah. So I will say that if you do that at Popeyes, that's a literal war crime. At Popeyes, you eat the whole fucking thing, like, or you don't touch it at all. But no, people who
We're talking about fast food again. Oh no.
people who after this, I guarantee you, Brittany's gonna go get some nugs after this. I guarantee it. No. You're muted, by the way, Britt.
She knows. No, she had to mute.
Oh, right.
Zach's on a call beside her, so.
But no, like I do not trust anyone who peels the skin off their chicken and refuses to eat it. I don't trust you. I don't trust your taste in food. I don't trust. No, we are not back on the fry debate, but we can be. if you really want to open that can of worms, we can absolutely do that.
We did get asked to talk about the Pokemon MOBA. I know Grant's pretty excited for that.
Yeah,
I don't know. What do we need to know about it,
Grant, why don't we talk about Grant, you talk about the Pokemon MOBA because I know literally nothing about it.
I will try and contain myself. I will be professional.
Center yourself.
I
Center
am
yourself.
so excited. Well, I am a Pokemon fanatic. Like, just inject everything straight into my veins. Anime cards, figures, games. I eat all of it up at once. And they're introducing a MOBA with Pokemon characters. You can play it on your Switch. And I would do anything to play a game right now. It looks amazing. The way that they have. So in traditional MOBAs, your character gets stronger as you level up, you unlock new abilities. With this game, as you level up, your Pokemon evolve, which is super cool. So let's say you choose, Charizard, because you're basic, and then you choose Charizard as your character. You start out as a Charmander, but as you progress, you level up to Charmeleon, and eventually Charizard, and you'll have all your moves. That's really cool.
Does this happen like through the course of a single match? Like every
Yes.
match you start? Oh, okay, that
Yes.
is cool. Yeah.
So every match, depending on what character you have and their evolutions, you always start at the base evolution. And you'll level your character up, which will then cause them to evolve. And I'm very excited about that. Yeah, anything Pokemon, just give it to me.
Honestly,
It's a
like
good year for Pokemon fans, honestly.
Honestly,
Oh my gosh.
I would try it, but there are just so many fucking games coming out that I'm focused on. Like Skyward Sword is tomorrow, and then what? Like the week after that, we have both Great Ace Attorney and Neo: The World Ends with You, which should have been called The World Ends with 2. I don't know what the fuck that's all about. Like it was right fucking there for anybody.
I'm still mad that Nino Kuni 2 wasn't called Nino Toonie. That wasn't even a distracting thought. That went along with what you said.
I agree. I was just taking a minute to be impressed.
It's
clever.
Yeah, it's definitely clever. Jesus Christ, Britt came tonight to make fucking problems. Britt,
I low-keyed this entire podcast.
Britt low-keyed Brittany, you came in here just gwumped it up.
You
gwumped that shit right up. But we've kind of reached the end of our topics here. We got like 5 minutes, so I figure we can either take off early or we can ask the chat if there's anything that they want us to mention. It's up to you guys. I am not partial either way. Jeff said in chat, "Tu Nino, tu Kuni."
No.
Do you think we'll get a Nino Kuni 3? How did Nino Kuni 2 sell?
Not that well, I don't think. I mean, like, yeah, I don't know what the sales numbers were. I just think generally wasn't as well. There was a lot of buzz around the first one, and I think the general consensus was the second one was just a bit of a step back.
The first one was better.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely think, and I don't know how Brittany feels about that, but I definitely think the first one was better from a narrative standpoint. And
I never played Nino Kuni.
You really need to go back and play it, Britt. Like it's.
Well, I was a 360 girls, and that was a PlayStation exclusive game.
It's on Switch.
And well, now it is. But back then when it came out, I just didn't play my PS3 enough to really warrant buying it, and I just never played it since.
It has one of the best OSTs in modern JRPGs. Like the OST. Grant, have you played Nino Kuni?
My JRPG library basically boils down to like pixelated, like Octopath.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Earthbound, Pokemon. I'm not really a fan of like the 3-dimensional JRPGs.
I'm
gonna say no.
speaking of three-dimensional JRPGs, Grant, just on a whim, Britt, this is specifically for you. I fired up PlayStation 9, Jesus. I fired up Final Fantasy 9 on my Vita the other day. And, I've played that game a million times, but I wanted to see something. And I think I was proven right. It looks better on PlayStation, like on the original PlayStation hardware, than it does in the remaster.
I don't know. I haven't seen it in quite some time.
By a country mile. Because
I disagree.
No, because I'll tell you why.
Okay.
Because
wrong.
Jeff.
No, hold on. Let me kind of lay this out. Jeff's gone. Jeff, get back in here.
No,
Jeff, get back in here.
F's in chat for Jeff.
F in chat for Jeff. Jeff, come back in or I'm going to feel bad. He clicked the wrong button. No, but how I feel about this is I feel like the character models look fine in the remastered version, but they didn't do anything with the backgrounds. And so for that reason, like they really like jarringly stand out. And plus like, like the PlayStation version, like the PlayStation version of most of these games that have been up-resed, just a little chunkier, a little more pixely. And I feel like
Final Fantasy VIII 100% looks better than PlayStation Final Fantasy VIII.
I haven't played PlayStation Final Fantasy VIII in a long time. So that one I'm not sure. But I do know, I think 7 and 9 look better on PlayStation than they do in the remastered versions. Maybe I'm just weird. I don't know. That's just me. But
definitely look more like, I don't know, it's really subjective. They look more cohesive, like the original versions, right? Because everything is a pixelated, blurry mess. And then in the new ones, half of it is still a pixelated, blurry mess, and half of it looks really sharp. So, like, to me, objectively, it's better, but I definitely see why people would still prefer it. Same, like, there's still kind of a CRT monitor renaissance or something where people are buying CRT TVs or playing older games because there is benefits to them. But I will say this won't be of any point to you, John, but on PC at least, people have created some, I think there's some third-party mods or add-ons. There's basically AI upscaling for the backgrounds to reconstruct them to a higher resolution. It looks really fucking good.
That's really cool.
It looks incredible. Yeah, so they do match the clarity of the character models. But
I would love to see that Ever Crisis remake of the original game that's coming out on mobile, which is basically just like a remade version of the original visuals, come to consoles. I would absolutely fucking love that. I don't think we're gonna get it, but that would still be really, really cool to see. So we are pushing up against the end of our podcast here. Remorse Betrayal in chat says Final Fantasy 9 is way too old for me. Yeah, I specifically said that because I knew that Brittany would be mad at it. Wow, Brittany's mad. Brittany's mad. She does not like that. F in the chat for Remorse Betrayal. But while we wait for Brittany to come back, we'll go ahead and wrap it up here. Poor Brit. Actually, poor Remorse Betrayal. She's going to be in his mentions. Okay, Jeff. Not necessary, Jeff. Not necessary, Jeff. I know I'm old. You're not wrong though. It is pretty old. I mean, you're 100% not wrong about that. So Grant, thank you once again for coming to join us, man. Like seriously, dude. Like it means the world to us. And I feel like, and again, like I feel like it would have been a little disingenuous for us to talk about accessibility issues without someone like you here who is actually affected by this stuff. So thank you for taking time. I know you were going to stream tonight. You canceled that to be with us. So seriously, thank you so much, man. Where can people find you if they want to follow you?
You can find my byline basically all over at this point. And if you want to follow me on social media, my Twitter handle is super_grip1994. And you can find me screaming into the void about Pokemon or accessibility.
Awesome, dude. Thank you so much for being here, man. Britt, are you okay? Were you able to cool down a little bit?
Yeah, I had to take a lap.
Okay, good. I'm just glad that you're centered now. Brittany, I'm going to do a replay of Final Fantasy 9 just to make you feel better.
Okay.
That's that, and I'm going to do it on PlayStation. I'm not going to do it on Switch.
I don't care.
But
Just play it.
I'm just going to play that shit again. Did we get to talk about Final Fantasy? Of course we did. This is SDGC. I'm always going to find a way. Does anybody have anything else before we get out of here?
No.
All right. Well, don't forget, we are right here live every Thursday night at Eastern or at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We got some more good pre-recorded content coming your way. We're going to be recording the fourth part of our Metal Gear Solid retrospective soon, which of course focuses on Metal Gear Solid 4. We're hoping to get that done this week and have it out to you next week. And also, Finn and I are recording a brand new episode of Dual Daddies on Sunday, and we will have that out on Monday. So please look forward to that. And of course, we got it's getting closer and closer. Extra Life. We have a big Extra Life happening this year. I'm very excited. Derek, Justin, and Britt are all going to be coming to my house, and I'm going to cook them delicious meals. And we are going to. Britt, did we decide? Are we going to do what? A 24-hour Nuzlocke? Is that?
Is that the Pokemon thing?
Yeah.
Wait. What game?
I don't know. I think Derek is the one picking the game.
I thought he said Pokemon.
It is
That
Pokemon.
is Pokemon,
Yeah.
I'm doing one of those right now on my Twitch channel, and my game is just littered with the corpses of my dead Pokemon. They're so fun. They're so fun.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be a really good fucking time. So we are definitely looking forward to that. And we have some more. We have a big crossover coming up in a couple of weeks. Where SDGC and Good Vibes Gaming will collide right here on this channel. Ash Paulson and Steve Bowling from Good Vibes Gaming will be joining us live here, not next week, but the week after. And it's going to be a big, probably honestly, the biggest crossover in podcasting, I feel like. It's gonna be huge. It's gonna be massive. Yeah, dude. The Good Vibes Gaming guys are gonna be here with us, chilling out. We're gonna yell and drink and get angry about shit and hug each other. And it's gonna be fantastic. It's gonna be a really good time. So again, that's not next week, but the week after is when and also, by the way, next week, Derek, next Wednesday, will be on GVG. Derek, our very own Derek, will be on Good Vibes Gaming. So very, very excited to see him blossom and branch out like that. I've been on there twice, and they are just a great fucking group of guys. And that's all we got. So until next time, take care of each other. Remember, kindness costs nothing, and we will see you all next week. Have a good night.